Hello, this is the Stokvel Show, and I'm Gerald Mr. G. Mwandiambira. This week we're shifting focus and we're zooming into the question of security amongst Stokvels, especially given the recent incidents of sophisticated fraud cases involving pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes. For this discussion, we have our resident expert, the man behind this magazine, Mr. Andile Mzwai, who's the CEO of the National Stokvel Association of South Africa. And we've also got a regular guest, Mr. Aron Khunou, who's a Stokvel member. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today, we're going to talk security. Now, we've already spoken about the 54 billion rand, which is in Stokvels, and we did already talk about pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes. But I'm taking it maybe a step down. Security in that Stokvels have cash.
Correct.
And cash attracts criminals.
Correct.
What is the state of crime affecting Stokvels in South Africa?
Sure. There are many levels. Let's start at the most basic one. To say, as a member, if it's your custom to come to the meeting with cash, just be careful. Whether you're taking your cash for this or that, the unhappy stories that we've heard is that criminals will actually target a meeting because they know that there are 24 members and they know that this group collects 600 per member. And the information comes out from the members themselves. They talk to their friends, they talk to other people, hey, and so they can become targets like that.
Now, Aron, have you been a victim of crime, or do you know of any groups which have been?
Yeah, I mean, the stories that we've had, but our Stokvel in particular, I read a long time ago that there was some people who, like in a country where they were killing Christians, they used to wait for the Holy Spirit to tell them where the meeting was going to be. So I had an idea, why don't we just say where we are meeting the night before? So that's what we do.
But isn't that logistically impossible?
No, it's very possible.
Do you meet in a beer hall, or how do you
No,
meet?
we meet in our houses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just decide the night before.
Okay, now, Andile, I've personally dealt with a case where a Stokvel treasurer colluded with another member. And this was a grocery Stokvel at Christmas. They went and they withdrew 120,000 rand. And they claim it was stolen. How do we deal with such cases, giving advice to Stokvels?
I can actually give some things that Stokvels themselves do in order to protect themselves. One idea is to actually take the money and keep it with the wholesaler. So you put your deposits with the wholesaler. In that way, the money can't be drawn out. It can only be taken out in the form of groceries. It's not foolproof, but that is one mechanism. The other one, in the design of many of the banks, it requires 3 people. And it's more difficult to collude with 3 than with 2. To say, if money has to be taken out, you need 3 people to sign, you need their ID books. So those are some of the protections that Stokvels use.
Now, how do you handle money in your Stokvel? Take us through the process in which members arrive with their cash and what you do with it.
I don't think you really want to know what we do, when we get there. But, we shy tafula, ba. Yeah, we bring out the man, baba. Shy tafula. Shy tafula.
And why do you do that?
No, because it's, like I said, Stokvels are a social club. It's not a formal business meeting. We're there to have fun. We're there to sit with our friends and discuss our weeks or our months, our lives, and where we want to go, and discuss aspirations, our dreams, and see where, So we have fun. So that's how we, when we come together, we do things. I'm sure every other Stokvel has their own things that they do, but we have our things that we do. We have fun in our kind of way.
Now, Andile, comment on that. How safe is hitting the table with the cash?
There are just some things which you can't replicate. We say to our members, do an EFT. Take your deposit slip, but it doesn't sound the same. I'm not shy tafula with the deposit slip.
Okay, now bring it back seriously, because you're part of a burial group.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that the men also have a few drinks after Vasha Itaful.
Yeah.
How safe is that?
How safe is to
What happens to the money? Once you hit the table, and then what are you going to do? You're going to have drinks. What happens to the money in between?
I mean, there's things in place, you know. I mean, you have your secretary, your treasurer, you know, who's responsible for all of that, and the 2 or 3 other people that help. You know, so I can't tell you what our security measures are, because then, I mean, come on, really.
They're not security anymore.
But we have our ways. You know? Like I said, for us, some of the things that we do, because ours is actually a very large group, and our contribution are quite handsome. So it's actually very important that we should talk, you know, security, because I mean, we could lose a lot of money.
Now, I've heard of some Stokvel groups who actually go to the extent of providing e-taxi for our mama after the meeting, so people, especially mama who maybe who took the round, etc. What advice or security measures are you promoting to NASASA members?
In fact, on our website, we've got a list of things to say to members, these are the do's and the don'ts. And the reason we're so confident about them is we actually got them from the SAPS. We were working in Deep Slurt, and the SAPS came to us to say, if you're talking to Stokvel members, these are the crimes that we have seen that affect them. And one of them is this thing, especially Omagogo. Everybody knows Omagogo are going to go and put money in. So don't disclose the location. If you're going to have cash, do it next to a bank, or even in a bank. You might meet in the bank before the meeting, and then you make your deposits there, or come with a deposit slip that you've come to from the bank.
Now, obviously, Ama Stokvel are based in the community, and one of the social ills right now, Ekasi, is Inyaopi. Now, often what tends to happen is the robber who robs the group is not someone who's unknown. Sometimes it's actually a resident of that particular house. What are the dynamics? How does a Stokvel deal with such a situation where maybe it's a member of a person who is in the group who's actually orchestrated the robbery?
Look, at the end of the day, man, no security measure is foolproof. People escape from CMAX in Pretoria, you know, and you can't be suspecting, you know, people that are close to you to be thugs and all that stuff. But then you put security measures around what you do. What we do is, as soon as we have counted the money, you know, before we get to the drinks and everything, we make sure that we do it in a time where banks are still open, and then our treasurer can, you know, and the other 2 people can quickly run to the bank and bring the, you know, the deposit slip, so that we can all see that no money went missing between there and then. And sometimes, unknown to them, we actually send 1 or 2 other members to just check them and follow them, just to make sure that nobody takes a detour with our money.
Okay, now, Stokvels, membership. Generally, it's supposed to be someone who knows somebody.
Yes.
But we're seeing a lot of fancy Stokvels popping up now who've got AMA websites and calling people to a Stokvel group. Is that really still a Stokvel?
It's unlikely to be a Stokvel. The definition of a Stokvel is people who come together and pool their money for a common cause. So if it's the 3 of us, we know each other, we know what that dream is. Once you are going onto a website and you are recruiting membership like that, it doesn't seem as though you are sharing any common bond with people. We would say very strongly, be careful. It's unlikely to be a genuine Stokvel.
But Andile, let's look at this. Often you get ama Stokvel emsebenzini.
Yes.
So at work, yes, you get someone from the warehouse joining the group.
Yes.
And I don't know them, but I know they work in the same company. Is that still also a Stokvel?
That's still a Stokvel.
Or is that a credit union?
Not for me, it isn't. Because for me, for us anyway in a Stokvel, relationship is more than anything. So at work we can meet, but we're never friends. I never come to your house. I don't know your wife, your children, or your girlfriend. I must know your girlfriend. I must know where your children go to school. So that if you run with my money, I know how to find you. You know, for me, that's what it is. So if it's something where we just meet at work and then you're gone, I never see you, I don't know where you live, I don't know where you come from, no, that's not going to work. I must first go, in ours, we vet people. You know, if you want to join, we must know you. We must know where you sleep. We must know where you eat. We must know who you eat with. We must know where you work. If you don't work, we must know you. We must have a relationship with you. If you don't have a relationship with you, it's too high a risk.
You know, I'll pick up on a theme that Aron is saying here. In financial services, we've got FICA, we've got KYC. All of those things are in an attempt to get to where Aron are. You have to know the people that you are with. In Stokvel, you don't ask for documents. But the reason that financial institutions ask for documents is because they don't know you. So the same rule applies. If you do not know these people, then the chances of them stealing your money are much higher. If you do not know these people, the chances of them defrauding you are that much higher. If you are bound together in a bond and you know each other, chances are it's going to work out better.
Okay, so today we're discussing the security element around Stokvel. Now, besides cash, have you ever come across any other cases which are non-cash related where Stokvels have lost money?
The one where we've seen is with usually the grocery groups. Now that they've bought, usually that will be delivered in one person's home, and then the other members will be there, and then they will take what's theirs. And again, groceries are as good as cash. Again, you become a target because people can go for that.
Okay, now, in terms of how do you vet a transport supplier? So if you buy groceries or goods, do you actually vet the transporter or you just hire someone at Rankin?
No, like I said, dude, everything has to be checked. I mean, you can't risk with money that you pay. Do you understand that this is my money, man? I can't just allow it to be good. Like, I don't think you understand.
Okay.
We make sure that, we know this person. And, I mean, some of us have actually gotten into space where we provide the services ourselves. Understand? Where if we have a member who has a truck, then we'll use him because he's also, to benefit from what we're doing. But we don't just get random people that we don't know to come and handle, our hard-end finances or labor. It doesn't work.
Now, you touched on an important point there where Stokvels are starting to give back to the community by supporting other business. We'll discuss that after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Stokvel Show, and today we're still looking at security amongst Stokvels. And in studio we have our regular expert, Mr. Andile Mzwai, who's the CEO of NASASA, and we've also got Mr. Aron Khunou, who's well in the know when it comes to Stokvel affairs. Now, one of the points which Aron touched on just before we went to the break is how Stokvels hire transport providers from the community, taxi from the community, security services from the community. Is that happening and is that promoted within NASASA?
Definitely so. Stokvels live in a community. It makes no sense for them not to be supportive in that community. Each member is an income earner. Many of them will have their own businesses. So yes, it makes absolute sense if the members can promote one another.
Okay. Now, we've heard of Stokvel who are really serious because I think 2% of Stokvels out there are actually known as the investment Stokvels. And especially if you look at the old mutual savings and investment monitor, which just came out the other day, it's a growing number of Stokvels in the 40K income bracket involved in Stokvels. And now this is serious money because when they talk 40,000 a month, they're talking at people who are targeted and bracketed as wealth segment.
Yes.
I know of a Stokvel in the northern suburbs which collects regularly 120,000 rand when they do it round. ML, Jags parked outside. How do we address security with those people? Because they also want to shy tafra.
Yes, unfortunately, the bigger the numbers, the bigger the problem. It really is the case. True. And when you get to that level, you really want to start doing internet banking, electronic transfers. It becomes a very dangerous thing to have that amount of cash, especially as you're saying, it's advertised with all this bling outside on the street. Anybody coming by might think, here's a target.
So there's a case in point that sometimes Stokvels maybe need to restrain themselves in showing off. Do you show off?
We're not outside on the street. We're not doing that. We're doing it in the private.
But your cars are outside.
Yeah, but I can't hide my car in my pocket, can I? So at the end of the day, look, if we have to then increase the security, then we just might have to get, these armored security guys to come and pick up the money.
On a serious note, that actually is a very good point. Would NASASA have something on their website where perhaps you have service providers who you are comfortable with, security companies who can provide those armored vehicles, because for 100,000 in a house, it's a huge security risk. And to get e-guard, sometimes I think it's 1.5 or 1.8. And is that something you maybe look at NASASA to put there, just so Stokvels who are collecting big amounts can just use those service providers?
The short answer is no, we don't. What we love to do at NASASA is rather have our members tell us what's working. That's the forum that we have. Then we can say, other members may want to know, these guys have used this and it has worked or it hasn't worked.
Because I'm also thinking now that if we're collecting 200,000 at a meeting, maybe then we might need to shy tafula with something else than with we might just need to do the EFT then.
Okay.
You know?
Now, what's working for the members, on these forums around security? What are the comments which are dominating your forums and the advice being given from one Stokvel group to another?
Now, more and more electronic transfers, more and more, especially when the person is receiving. Many groups are rotational. So we may be 20 and we bring in our cash, and one member is going to leave with all of that cash, not to go to the bank. This is the cash because it's their turn to receive. And that, of course, becomes very, very dangerous. And in that case, they're saying, please, put the money in a bank account.
That's why now, that's why I was saying, banks should actually, play a bigger part, because then you can do your EFTs, phone applications, transfer money right there, and then it comes immediately as well. So.
Now, speaking of applications, I did meet with Mr. Mzwai a few weeks ago. You mentioned an NASASA app. What is that? Is that a banking app? Because these guys are very sophisticated.
We do have an app. We do have an app. We're using it internally. This has been for the registration of our members. As we develop more products on it, then we will make it available to our members to then use.
Now, still talking security and Ama Stokvels, I think the biggest problem around security challenges happens around the festive period, when it's traditionally known. Groceries are happening, big collections, big deposits, etc. What advice can you give Stokvels around avoiding some of the risks at Christmas? Should they go shopping in October? Or what's the best plan around that?
Again, I can share the experience of our members, which is to make an arrangement with the wholesaler before you get there. So instead of arriving with your 150, 250, 350,000 in cash and then buying, you call ahead and say, on this date, we are going to come for these things. So maybe the members can even choose what they want, make the transfer of the money, and then only go and receive. Because the wholesalers themselves have a security problem, and they've already sorted it out. So if you can just be part of that as your Stokvel group, you'll be doing well for yourself.
In your opinion, Aron, would there be a space for cash in transit companies? Because some Stokvels are just cash. At the end of the year, they're not buying e-grocery. All that money that has been banked must come home. Is there a place for cash in transit there?
Well, there is, man. It's said that when we are supposed to be enjoying what we've worked for the rest of the year, there's somebody who's just waiting there to reap the hands of your labor. So we're looking into. We have some policemen in our Stokvel, and we protect ourselves the best way we know how. So everybody needs to look at their particular situations and how because having 10,000, just losing 10,000 it's a lot of money. Losing 5,000 is a lot of 1,000 is a lot of money. So you need to, even if you might have to spend 5,000 to secure 500,000, hey, that's safer than losing all the money that you had. So that's something that every Stokvel needs to look into. And like what Mr. Mzwai said, try to pay for things way before. And I suppose even when you pay before, you get some form of discounts and all those kind of things. So that would be a good advice for us to follow.
Okay, now, again, you spoke last week about Stokvels considering joining NASASA. I'm sure a lot of people watching have taken an interest in this NASASA. It's nasasa.co.za. How do they join and how much?
nasasa.co.za. Registration fee, 0. Membership fee, 0. It's free. It's free.
Everything.
It's free. The magazine is free. We make it
No, I mean,
available
I asked
free.
that, some time ago when we were here. Like, what?
Okay.
I mean, how does he get to then, sustain Asasa? So, there are many ways to make money, and it's a good thing. I think I come from a generation where if it's free, there was something.
There's something wrong. There's something wrong with free
cash.
Because my parents told me goedkoop is duurkoop.
Okay.
So if it's good, it's worth a lot.
Okay.
So if it's free, then I might be,
Okay. Now, Mr. Mzwai, are you providing any risk-type services like insurance? Because obviously the next question really is, if Stokvels are already talking to one body, why can't that body provide some sort of cover, robbery cover or some cover?
What we like to do at NASASA is rather use our voice to go to people who are experts in the industry and say, you may be underservicing the sector. Please develop a product, go ahead and do something in order to service our members better. Otherwise, NASASA would be getting involved in every business to do with our Stokvel, which is just far too big.
So that's important. So Mr. Mzwai is keeping his hands clean. He's not dipping into the kitty. NASASA, everything is free, self-funded, and they tend to negotiate with service providers. As we wrap up, let's take a look at this week's Stokvel Fact Check, and it's on crime and fraud. Now, given the fact that Stokvels are largely informal, there are no reliable stats available to paint a picture of exactly how bad crime is in this market. But economic crime at large continues to be a major concern for all organizations around the globe. The 2014 PricewaterhouseCoopers Global Economic Crime Survey reported global fraud rates rose by 37% year-on-year, following an increase of 34% in 2011. More worrying is the fact that most economic crime takes place right here on the continent of Africa, then in North America, followed by Eastern Europe. Now, crime is definitely an issue in South Africa and in Africa. What's your last word to Ama Stokvels watching the Stokvel show about how to handle their security?
It's your money, keep it safe.
Okay, and Aron, any last words?
I said it, if it's my money, I'm making sure that it stays safe the best way I know how.
So Stokvels out there, let's be safe with our money. And where possible, use electronic methods, but where you need to handle cash, please take precaution. And that's it from me and the team today. A big thank you to our guests, Mr. Andile Mzwai and Aron Khunou, who's our regular resident expert on Stokvels as well. Remember to use today's valuable insight to help you make better informed decisions around your security. Until next time, take care and goodbye.